support a woman's right to choose. I support it's a constitutional right. I've supported it. I will continue to support it. And I will, in fact, move as president to see to that the Congress legislates that that is the law.
What are your particular plans to protect women's reproductive rights in the U.S.?
The only responsible response to that would be to pass legislation making Roe the law of the land. That's what I would do.
Well, Joe Biden, that's a problem. I'm not one to judge or shame, but you do say you are a Christian and a practicing Catholic, and what you are advocating is against church teachings. And Joe Biden insists that he will receive communion wherever he goes. It's not that clear anymore. Pope Francis, he's met Joe Biden several times, but Pope Francis has become, believe it or not, something of a controversial figure in a way, even in the church. His liberal policies, well, a lot of folks here in America, especially Catholic church leadership in this country, not necessarily comfortable with the direction he is moving the Catholic Church in. Is Joe Biden eligible to receive communion? This is a big topic, and American bishops are tackling it right now. We're joined now by the Archbishop of San Francisco, Salvatore Cordileone. Welcome, sir. And Bill Donohue, president of the Catholic League, America's largest Catholic civil rights organization, founded all the way back in 1973. Welcome, gentlemen. Good to see you again. How's everybody?
Thank you. Doing well.
So, Joe Biden, first of all, and first to you, Archbishop, given what he just said, is he eligible to receive communion? And perhaps before you answer that, can you tell us a little bit about what communion is for those who may not know?
Yes, for Catholics, the belief in Holy Communion, what we call the Holy Eucharist, it's really the core Catholic belief. In the Protestant consideration of it, usually it means table fellowship. But for Catholics, it's much more than that. It's the bread and wine actually become the body and blood of Christ. He's substantially present under the appearances of bread and wine. To receive Holy Communion is he makes a sacrifice, his historical sacrifice on Calvary, present to us in the here and now through the sacrament. So to join that sacrament means dying with Christ, which means dying to what is sinful, selfish in us. So one must be in what we say a state of grace, free of any serious sin, in order to receive communion and be properly disposed.
With all of that in mind, given Joe Biden's, it's not just pro-choice, it seems like a pro-abortion opinion, given the teachings of the church as you understand them, and is he eligible to receive communion?
Well, the bishops are going to issue this document on Eucharistic coherence, a term that we get from a document that was written by the Latin American bishops in 2007 that uses that term and says specifically that government leaders and healthcare professionals who participate in any kind of serious evil, and it explicitly mentions abortion and euthanasia, are not properly disposed to receive communion. There has to be a coherence between the way they live and receiving communion. One of the lead authors of that document was the Archbishop of Buenos Aires at the time, Jorge Bergoglio, who's now Pope Francis. So I want to make this very clear. This is nothing that's out of line with Pope Francis. He's obviously a believing Catholic, and this is standard Catholic doctrine. So we were encouraged by the head of the Vatican's doctrine office, Cardinal Ladaria, to follow guidance in a letter that his predecessor, Cardinal Ratzinger, later Pope Benedict XVI, when he was the head of that office, to follow the guidance he gave us in a letter way back in 2004, which was first conversations have to take place. There has to be this dialogue to help the person understand the evil that they're helping to perpetrate and move them to a change of heart. And if that, after many attempts, proves to be fruitless and it looks like it will continue to be, then the person must not be admitted to communion.
All right.
That process has to take place first.
President Biden responded to what's in development right now. And then, Bill, I'd like to get you to comment, please. This is President Biden on Friday, I believe.
The Catholic bishops are moving on this resolution that would prevent you and others who've supported abortion from receiving communion. Are you concerned about the rift in the Catholic Church, and how do you feel personally about that?
That's a private matter, and I don't think that's going to happen. Thank you.
Private matter, and that's not going to happen. I have seen him before, Bill, mention, almost brag about how well he knows the Pope, and that's been his answer before. Your thoughts, please.
Well, don't forget, he always carries rosaries, right? So that makes him obviously a Catholic in good standing. Look, I'm less concerned about him than I am the 59 Catholic Democrats. They call themselves Catholics, self-identified Catholic Democrats, who came out represented by Rosa DeLauro, and they basically are lecturing the bishops. They've been lectured to a lot lately, and they deserve better. They're good men, and you have one of the greatest bishops in the United States on your show tonight, and they don't need this. All right, they're coming out there, these 59 Catholic Democrats, and they're telling them that the bishops are wrong, that we believe in life, we believe in helping kids and having full access to education and the like. It's risible. You take a look at the voting record of these 59 Catholic Democrats, and particularly of Rosa DeLauro, who's the one who's leading the charge. She always leads the charge. You couldn't get people who are more enthusiastic about abortion than these 59 Democrats. As a matter of fact, they vote in favor of partial birth abortion. They're in favor of the Equality Act, which would arguably close Catholic hospitals, which if they don't perform abortions. They'd go after Catholic doctors who can perform sex reassignment surgery and make them do it. No conscience rights respected. They're against school choice. How in the world are the poor black kids and Hispanic kids supposed to rise up if they're confined to public schools that nobody in his right mind would send his kids to? I worked in Spanish Harlem, Catholic kids back in the 70s, and I saw the great work that's done by Catholic schools. Now, these people are in open rebellion against the Catholic Church's teachings on core moral issues. It's not for the Catholic League to decide what the bishops should do. We're here to defend them, and we're going to continue to fight back against the bishop bashers, of which there's quite a few of them in this country today.
Bishop bashers. I did not know, and I don't like that. Archbishop Cordileone, I don't want to see that happen. All right, I don't want to go to the extreme here, but I haven't heard about this in a while. Apparently, it is a measure that could be taken, excommunication, where you kick somebody out of the church. Given what we know about Joe Biden, given his positions, forget about communion for a moment. Is that something he should be worried about? Or in another era, would that be considered, Archbishop?
It has happened in relatively recent past. I've cited the well-known example of Archbishop Rummel in New Orleans, who, this is the early 1960s, so this was in the civil rights moment. He developed a plan to integrate his Catholic schools in the Archdiocese of New Orleans. Three Catholics prominent in political life were opposing him on that plan, and he actually did excommunicate them. So there is a precedent, but nobody's talking about excommunication. Excommunication is a penalty. It's a canonical penalty. Unlike declaring someone not to be admitted to communion is not a canonical penalty. It's a declaration of a fact that they're not properly disposed. An excommunication is a penalty. It deprives one of all rights, privileges, titles, and jurisdiction in the church, and there's a very defined process of that has to be followed.
All right.
But no one has been talking about excommunication.
When is the letter going to actually be finalized and issued?
The plan is November. There's a very long vetting consultation process that takes place between now and then. The final product should be ready in November, and then we debate and vote on it then.
So whatever sins Joe Biden may or may not have committed, or anybody may have committed, there is salvation available, isn't there? Bill, you're a practicing Catholic for a long time. I'll let you take that one, please.
Listen, the Catholic Church is very compassionate, but it has strictures. It's like any other organization. You couldn't play Little League unless you had rules and regulations. Catholic Church is not an oppressive institution. It's actually an organization which probably has more rules and is less willing to enforce a number of them. If you want to look for oppression, go to your local college campus. The Catholic Church gets this rap all the time. Look, we have norms like any institution, and the bishops have a right to enforce them. It's a voluntary organization. If you find them too restrictive, there's always a door, isn't there?
All right, yes. But I'm going to ask the Archbishop, and I only got a couple of seconds left. There is a way forward for the worst among us, isn't there, Archbishop?
Absolutely. Salvation is always possible. Reconciliation to God. We have a sacrament for that too. The door is always open to welcome people in who are truly repentant and want to follow the way of the Lord.
We'll be following this. Thank you very much. Salvatore Cordileone, Archbishop of San Francisco, and Bill Donohue, President of the Catholic League. Thank you both once again.
Thank you so much.
All right, take
Thank
care.
you.
We'll be.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.